Hey everyone, welcome to Jake's Adventure Garage. As you can see by the title, we're doing something a little different today, and that is this Traxxas F150 High Trail. We're going to make some changes to this truck. We're going to talk about those changes and then dive into it. All right, so this truck started its life as a box stock Traxxas High Trail. There's been some things that have been done to it since then, and I'm going to go ahead and talk about those things and then what we're going to do to this truck today before we take it out and go for a mud run. Now, I had other plans for a video for this week. However, due to the weather, the overabundance of rain and everything that's come with it, we're going to pull this out, we're going to fix it, and we're going to see just what it can do. Again, this started its life as a high trail. We did add a bumper to it, added a metal bumper up front here. I believe this is an SSD bumper, front and rear. We added a light kit to the body, and then we did some other things. One of the primary things that we did was we added a 5mm Castle motor. Now, this is not your typical motor. This is the very expensive 1515 2200 kV motor, and you're gonna ask why I have a second one in my hand. Because I actually got this first motor from Mike. If you follow the channel at all, you know we do Speed Sundays, or used to do Speed Sundays, and I accidentally burned up his motor, so I bought him a new one and took this one. What ended up happening is the motor actually overheated, which it shouldn't have been able to do because settings were enabled to prevent the motor and ESC from overheating. However, it did overheat and it desoldered the motor wires in the end cap. So I soldered them back together. However, it still doesn't work as it should. So the motor is pretty much junk. I'm going to pull it and we're going to replace it with a new one. We do have a Cobra 8 ESC in here, and we have a metal Yeah Racing spur gear with the Traxxas clutch slipper eliminator kit installed. So there's no more slipper because these tires are massive and they will essentially just burn up the clutch almost immediately with the power of this motor. So the motor is actually quite a bit larger than the stock or factory motor that you would typically put in here or see in here. Like I said, it's a 5mm stub shaft right here instead of a 3.7 or 3.1 millimeter, I think is what they are, the 10 scale motors. So yeah, definitely a big difference. So we're going to probably have to resolder these ends because they don't look like they're the same. They are not. So we're going to have to put new ends on this motor. And the other thing that we're going to do is, with this motor and all of the power that comes with it, the plastic transmission housing doesn't work. So there's too much flex in it, and so I ordered a Amazon special transmission housing out of aluminum to try and mitigate that. So we're going to get all of this stuff installed. I'm not going to do it on camera because that's probably going to be pretty boring for most of you guys. So we'll get it installed, and then we're going to take it out and see what it does in the mud. So we'll be right back. And we're back. So we've got the new transmission brace, really the pinion and spur mount in place to get rid of the plastic. We did get the aluminum one. This motor is really tight up against the servo mount, and there was some trimming needed there. So I had to do that before, but it fits in there today, but it's still really tight. So getting this mount in place and then the motor installed on the mount is very painful. Now, this I believe has a 44 tooth spur gear and like a 15 tooth pinion, and it's ready to party, even in first gear. So we're going to run it today on 3S because I don't want to run it on 4, 5, or 6S. Even though this ESC is capable of 6S, we're not going to get that far today. What we're going to do now is we're going to take this and we're going to get it all put together. First, I'm going to validate the battery has a charge, and then we're going to go and hit some mud holes. Leave a comment below. How do you think it's going to do? Do you think the motor is going to overheat and blow up in the first mud hole, or do you think it'll last a while? This battery should last quite some time. It is a 10K 3S battery, so I guess we'll see. It is a lot of raining now. It wasn't raining like this earlier. Tires do a little bit of rubbing. It's first gear on 3S there. Does a little tire kicking. See what second gear does. Woo! Wow. That gets rowdy. We do have the diffs open. Put it back into first gear. Now, with the diffs closed, it will not sustain very well. So, let's go find some mud. This thing is definitely rowdy on 3S. I can only imagine on 6S. I wonder if you still crawl. It can still crawl very well with these big tires. Not as well as you'd want. Well, this is normally where we do the mudding. Oh no. It's really crazy because this rained a ton and it is not as muddy as I thought it'd be. Let's go ahead and lock them up. I can't use, for some reason, reverse just isn't working very well. And I don't have the programmer to mess with it. We'll just follow this little stream here and see if we can find any mud. Does slow crawl pretty well, even with the short spur gear and tall pinion. Oh, wow. So you're probably asking yourself, why did he decide to put such a big motor and ESC in a 10th scale car? Well, the answer to that question is simply because I kept burning up the smaller 10th scale motors and ESCs. Playing in the mud is like playing in the sand. Whatever power you think you need, you pretty much have to double it because it consumes a lot of it, gets everything really hot. Obviously, water is wet, and wet and electronics don't go together very well, so there are problems that arise when you combine those three things: heat, water, and electronics. Well, really, any two of the three are going to be problematic, but all three together are even worse. Walk through the animal crossings here. It's unfortunate we haven't found any water. We have found some deer tracks though, right up here by the house. There's going to be water and mud anywhere. It's going to be right here. Right here in this little pond. Unfortunately, as you can see, the ground is cracked because of how dry it is. So that's unfortunate. And we're back. So I found a spot. It's a few days later. Got new clothes on. We found some really good mud here, I think. So we're going to try this and see just how good it is. If not, we are right next to the lake. I'm sure we can find a spot. So we're in first gear. Woo! This is still a little dry, I think. We found some water. Still an open diff, first gear. This thing is so much fun. Lock up the diffs. Straight up mega truck status. We got the old muck boots on today. Whoa, that was crazy. Let's see what that looks like going this way, huh? Woo! That thing's flying. Put it back in first gear. All right, we're gonna go try and find another spot that's a little more soupy, if you will, and see what we can get done here, yeah? All right, so here we're at another little spot at the lake. You can see the lake's behind me. There's a little water puddle here. I don't know how good this is gonna be because it is pretty rocky. When you look at the ground, you can see it's real rocky, but there's also another little puddle here. So we're gonna see how deep it is and how muddy we can get it. We're gonna try this little puddle here first. We're in first gear open diffs. That's actually pretty fun. And not really muddy at all, honestly, because we can go through it pretty slow. We're not doing a whole lot. Still have traction. Woo! Gets pretty deep there. That didn't sound good. I don't know what that noise is. Let's see if we can get a second gear pull through this water. Oh, we almost skimmed it. Let's try that again, huh? Almost. Let's lock the diffs and do it. That's definitely close to skimming it if it's not skimming it. That one sank. Oh! That one sank too. Rip. I always put it in first gear when I stop like that, because otherwise I don't want to overheat the motor and tear stuff up. So we'll try another second gear pull. Oh, we made it further. The motor is cogging real bad for some reason. It doesn't like the water or something. That's with closed diffs. Let's see how deep the lake is, huh? The old batteries are wearing down a little bit. How far do you think we can go out there before it drops off? Oh, you can hear it cogging. Oh, that was really cool. I hope I got that on camera. I'm not sure if that was skating or not, but the diffs were definitely open. Oh no. So I have some sad news for everyone. I believe there is a hole right there in my boot. There's actually two, because my socks are now wet. Uh-oh. Yeah. Well, that's unfortunate. That kind of kills this video. So, moral of the story, the 2200 kV motor is actually pretty good in the Traxxas with these big tires. Just note that if you get it wet, you're going to start to cog like that, and it's not a good thing. So, outside of that, this truck has been absolutely abused. I've broken pinions off of the 3.17 millimeter motors, jumping it and mudding it and everything else. So it's actually holding up to the abuse really well. Outside of this Castle 2200 kV motor, and I don't know if it's actually the motor, it could also be the ESC. From my experience, these Cobra ESCs, they don't really like water. The old Mamba ESCs love water. I mean, they'll go submarining and not have any problems. But I bought an XR10, I believe is what that is, a while back, and it just got a little wet and it just died. So it is what it is. Thanks for making it this far. Huge shout out to the Jake's Adventure Garage, and as always, we hope you have a great day.